Hi guys, it's Janet again. Today I have Lori Vasquez with me from Emory. She lives in Atlanta, and I have a great amount of questions for her. So Lori, what are your personal feelings about current events?
There's a lot of feelings about current events, and it's been difficult for me, but I also understand kind of both sides of the fence with the historical background I've had with starting my career at a HBCU. So I was there for 12 years, and still have a tremendous amount of friends from that experience. So I've reached out and talked with some of them and their feelings of what's going on, but it's a difficult time right now, and my concern is that the conversation is going to start slowing down and going back to the COVID situation, um, and that there's still so many of my friends and so many people hurting that we need to continue to listen and find what we can do introspectively to help our friends and to help people we don't know. There's a lot of friends we don't know that are hurting and having difficulty with current events right now, and we need to continue to be the support for those people and help in whatever way we can, even if it's just, hey, talk to me, tell me what you're feeling, and I'm here to listen to you. People need to understand they can't always be the solution, but they can contribute to the solution. So I think that's an important thing right now.
In terms of our profession as athletic trainers, how can we help with race relations?
Having that open dialogue, like I was talking about, I think from the top down, there needs to be a better evaluation of representation in our organization. If you look at numbers of diversity and the percentage of leaders that are ethnically diverse, it doesn't mimic our population. I was in a discussion yesterday, and we had our diversity report, and the good news is more students are diverse than ever in the NATA. So a lot of the students in programs now have an increase in diversity compared to the last 2 years. But as you go up from students to young professionals to mid-year professionals to leaders, the diversity percentages go down, and it doesn't represent the overall percentages of membership. So I think from the top down and the leadership positions is where we need to get more diversity. And the only way we're going to do that is as diverse members, reach out to our peers, reach out to our young professionals, encourage them and give them support to let them know that they can do it. You know, I got started because Renee Shingles reached out to me and said, hey, have you ever thought about doing this and being on the Ethnic Diversity Council at that point? Because I've been doing this a really long time. And I got involved that way, and then saw us grow into a full district committee and grow from there. And I would have never thought twice about being involved with EDAC if someone hadn't reached their hand out to me to be involved. And I think we need to do that even if we're not on any kind of committee. You may have a coworker or a friend or someone across the country who's diverse, and you're like, hey, this person would be really good for XYZ committee or state representative or whatever, and reach out to that person because they just may be scared or self-doubting or not understand how they can help the profession and have a seat at the table. We need to have seats at the table so that it's a better cultural understanding across the board on these committees of future direction of the organization. And I think that's the only way that is going to help.
When you talk about seats at the table, how do you suggest people to get there? Like, what are some steps?
I think first is increasing your networking, right? Get involved, get registered on Gather, find another diverse member who is reaching out as a member when you're looking for help and suggestions and questions. Even if they're not diverse, you can reach out and Gather to an area where you have interest and talk to them. How did they get started? What are their recommendations? But I think networking is the biggest thing that anyone can do for finding out how to get involved and how to get a seat at the table. There are some committees that I feel do a good job at that. Thankfully, EDAC was one of the first committees to have a graduate student position on their full-fledged national committee. So I think that's important, and that allows our young students to be able to be on a full-fledged committee and get the leadership experience, but also get involved with iLead, go to Capitol Hill Day, but networking and getting answers to your questions, maybe just from networking and mentoring versus anything else. So, there's the whole adage, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And you never know that who person that can get you in the right direction to get you at that table.
In terms of cultural competency, where can athletic trainers do better? What topics or what areas should athletic trainers really be focusing on?
I think the biggest thing is to get self-educated. I always had a 100% open door policy in my training room. And this was at, HBCU, and I was there for 12 years. So my athletes always knew that there was an open door. It was a safe space. You could have very blunt conversations. I have zero filter and don't do well with beating around the bush or always saying the right things or even asking things correctly. But I generally will preface it with, I need to learn. What is your feeling on this? How do you feel about XYZ? What perceptions am I seeing incorrectly about your culture or the way you were raised or your religious beliefs or whatever it is? Having those open, difficult conversations, I think, are important for athletic trainers to increase their education on cultural competence. Really pause and think about how you're saying something and the words that you're using that may seem perfectly normal to you, but may have an implied bias or discriminatory factor to the audience that you're speaking to. So educating yourself on those correct things. And I do recommend that people start watching Emmanuel Achu and his difficult conversations with a Black man, because I think they're very informative and so far really open and honest. And I think he gives a good historical fact-based information on cultural competence and things that have gone on and what's going on in the country right now. And I think he's doing a fabulous job, and I hope he keeps it up for a long time.
How are you dealing with all the stress and negative feelings?
Whew. Not well. Not gonna lie, I'm currently managing a COVID screening clinic. So I've been doing that 4 months now. And so all of my stress started with that before the rest of the racial unrest and things that are going on. Atlanta's been a hotbed for a lot, for protests, for riots, for unjustified shooting. It's been overwhelmingly stressful, and I haven't dealt with it well and found a good outlet. And AT's Care is amazing. They're a good group. We had a wonderful call with them, and I think that's a start. It's definitely not the end, and people need to continue to reach out to them, reach out to their faculty staff assistance programs. My employer has been wonderful, and they actually just started a open conversation. So they have some dates set aside that people can register and have open conversations about things going on in the country, as well as with COVID and things like that. But it's been terribly stressful to see patients come in who are super sick and then have all my friends hurting from the racial injustice. So for me, reaching out to them helps me to know they're okay somewhat, but to find out why they're not okay and if there's anything I can do besides listen. So you know, I haven't done enough for myself, and that's something that needs to happen. So I have that understanding, and it's just a matter of doing it.
I appreciate your honesty, Lori. Next couple minutes, all for you, your closing statement.
Um, there's a lot to say, but one thing I want to say is just support your brothers and sisters, regardless of, you know, gender, race, orientation, doesn't matter. Just support each other. You know, be there for not just your friends, be there for the stranger that you see struggling. You know, it might be the homeless person walking down the street, you know, dropping bags or doing whatever. See if you can help them. Maybe give them a couple dollars for some food. Keep some good, you know, some things in your car that can help. I know I had a friend who used to keep like gallon Ziplocs in their bag that had a clean pair of socks, a little tube of toothpaste and a toothbrush, and some hand wipes and things like that. And they would see somebody that needed it and they had it in their car and they would just give it to them. And I think just displaying love and affection for the human race, you know. So that's what I got.
That's all I have, Lori. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you, and keep on doing these living rooms.
I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
All right, have a good one.